public. I need to read out this and then up at the beginning of the meeting. Those present at this meeting should be aware that by law it can be recorded by anyone attending. This means that the meeting can be filmed, audio recorded, photographed or reported electronically by the use of social media. This does not apply to any part of the meeting that is held in private session. Therefore, anyone present should be aware that they could be recorded at this meeting. Any member of the public who does not wish to be filmed should move to an area of this meeting room away from any camera. Anyone recording must cease as soon as the meeting is declared closed. And is there anyone here that will be recording or filming something?
I might record some part of it, so I understand keep going to be recorded.
Okay. Thank you.
The planning department are doing their own recording,
Yeah.
Chairman.
Okay, good. Thank you. Apologies for absence.
Well, Councillor Roger Trigg.
Public question time. I have two questions tonight from members of the public. Question one is from Mr. Neil Bedford of Bradford Lane, Water End. Is Mr. Bedford here?
No, he's sick.
Okay. Thank you. Then we'll arrange for a written response to go to Mr. Bedford. And the second one was from Dr. Richard Dickinson. Is Dr. Dickinson here? Okay, so we'll arrange for written answers to go to both of those members of the public. Minutes of our last meeting, can I confirm as a true record?
Agreed.
Thank you. The action on item 4, the action status report, is before you.
That's for information, Chairman, on actions agreed at the last cabinet
Thank you.
meeting.
Noted.
Item 5 is any urgent business.
There is none,
There
Chairman.
is none. Declaration of interest by members. No declaration of interest. Item 7 is items related to the budget and policy framework for recommendation to the council. 7A is the revised application pack and handbook for hackney carriage and private hire drivers. Is that Roger's report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Trigg being absent, I would ask you to agree the recommendations on 7A. Agreed?
Agreed.
Item 8 is the Welling Hatfield draft local plan submission, which has been circularised separately. I think Mandy taking this.
Thank you, Chairman. The UK has a plan-led planning system, and every council has a duty to prepare a local plan. Our local plan will be covering the period 2013 to 2032 and contains strategic policies, site allocations and development management policies. It's accompanied by policies maps, a sustainability appraisal and importantly an infrastructure delivery plan. Once adopted, planning applications must be determined in accordance with local plan policies unless material considerations at the time indicate otherwise. The National Planning Policy Framework expects local plans to deliver sustainable development, seek to meet objectively assessed need for development, cooperate with adjoining authorities and other statutory bodies. And responses to previous rounds of consultation have favoured that growth be more fairly distributed around towns and villages, raised concerns about the impact of growth on green belt and infrastructure, and warned against the risk of settlements merging and queried scope for new settlement. Officers have advised, and Cabinet Housing and Planning Panel has agreed, that exceptional circumstances exist to release land from the greenbelt, as there is a significant shortfall against the objectively assessed need for development from just building on brownfield sites in towns and villages, and also socio-economic impacts of not meeting housing needs and not creating new jobs. The local plan development strategy seeks to maximise opportunities on brownfield sites in towns and villages, release greenbelt in the form of large urban extensions around Welwyn Garden City and Hatfield, and more limited sites around the villages to protect their character and identity. To reinforce the unique Garden City heritage of Welwyn Garden City, and to encourage pioneering and entrepreneurial spirit for Hatfield. It seeks to protect urban open land in towns and villages, maintain a green corridor between Welwyn Garden City and Hatfield, protect land retained as green belt, and deliver supporting infrastructure, transport, services and facilities. The objectively assessed need for employment land is 5.4 hectares or 138,000 square metres. The local plan identifies sites for 116,400 square metres of employment land on urban and greenbelt land. The objectively assessed need for housing ranges from 12,616 to 13,433 homes over the plan period. Proposed changes to the plans hanger policy means that the local plan identifies sites for 12,007 homes on urban and greenbelt land. Now, during the process of developing the plan, we had a meeting and received advice from a practicing planning inspector, and he advised that inspectors aim to find local plans sound wherever possible, and prefer to adjourn examinations rather than dismiss plans where elements of it need further attention. Plans should seek to comply with national guidance. Any local variation should be clearly justified. The strategic housing market assessment is a robust piece of work, and there is an argument for selecting a target that meets the lower end of the objective assessment of need. If the plan does not meet the objective assessment of need, there should be clear reasons why sites have been selected and why other sites have been rejected. He advised that we should consider housing provision beyond the plan period. He was comfortable with policy intent to protect existing employment areas and to identify new land at Marshmoor. He was comfortable with the plan only making retail floor space provision to 2026, given the long-term uncertainty about shopping patterns and the future of town centres. He did not feel that there were any notable omissions in the evidence base, and he considered that the plan has a logical structure and policies on all obvious topics. And I will ensure that a note of the inspector's visit is made available on the evidence webpage. Cabinet should note that a number of landowners have contacted the Council subsequent to the CHPP site selection papers being published to claim that the evidence is incorrect or can be resolved such that their sites should now be included in the draft plan. Goodman considers that the existing Section 106 can be varied to allow Hat 2, West Hatfield, to be developed whilst retaining land for meaningful country park use. A landowner has queried whether future dialogue will take place with Herts County Council for more school capacity in a village to favour their sites in northwest Welwyn. A landowner in Welwyn has asserted that work can be done to overcome highway and access concerns along School Lane associated with their site. Landowners of sites in South and South West Welham Green are coordinating their efforts to offer a new primary school for the village alongside new housing. And the landowner of BRP 12 has pointed out that the council has a duty to meet its objective housing need in full, has commissioned education evidence which asserts that their site could come forward within the capacity of the existing primary school, and therefore requests that it be included for allocation in the consultation document. A copy of their agent's letter has been circulated to you this evening for information. Officers have advised them all that their comments should be made as representations as part of the consultation period. It is therefore recommended that Cabinet agree the resolutions of CHPP on the 20th of July, amendments agreed by CHPP, changes to Panshanger policy and map, removal of Hatfield Fire Station as a site allocation, new consultation period from the 30th of August to the 24th of October, the proposed local plan and supporting maps and documents for public consultation, the local development scheme be updated accordingly, and the head of planning to have delegated authority in consultation with the executive member for planning to make minor amendments where they do not alter the intent of the plan.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. Are there any questions for Councillor Perkins on
Can I just ask one question? I was on CHPP and there's been a lot of thought and process by the members of that committee, and I think we are all very pleased that we've got to the stage where it can go out to consultation, and that's due to the hard work of everybody involved. But just for clarification please, you mentioned that the Hatfield Fire Station has been taken out of the consultation. What is the position of the Welwyn Garden City Fire Station?
At the present time, nothing has happened with it because it didn't have the same status in the plan as the Hatfield one. The Hatfield one was more pressing, so the Welwyn Garden City one could come forward later on.
Thank you.
Sorry, when you say later on, in the time span of this plan or after this plan is completed?
Quite possibly after, but certainly at the back end of this plan.
Thank you. I've got a note to ask if... I'm sorry, 8B. 8B is the Welwyn Garden City Estate... Sorry. Okay. I've just been reminded that we haven't actually agreed that one. Do I have your agreement on that?
Agreed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we move on to 8B.